Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Thanks for coming by today. Buckle up because it's an April TBR. Yeah, it's already upon us. It is. So, and I have a lot of books I want to read in April because April has a lot of things going on that I want to take part in. So, and you know me, I love a good reading event. And there's quite a few in April that I want to take part in, at least a little bit. And then of course all the other stuff I want to read. As usual, I have way too many books on this list. I don't want to get to all of them, and it's fine. It's fine. I just really like to make a good list. So I'm going to hop right on in because we got a lot to talk about today. So first up, I'm going to go through book club stuff, all that good stuff first. So for Rachel over at the Shades of Orange, she has her Patreon book club that I join in when I can. And we've actually got Hunted by Darcy Coates on our list for this month. I've not read a single Darcy Coates book yet. I know. So I'm really looking forward to just finally giving her a go and seeing how this one is. I don't remember what this one is about. Forgive me. I usually just go into the book club stuff just willy-nilly, just willy-nilly. I have my little book club that I run with my friends, and we are going to be reading The Silent Patient by Michaelides. I'm a little feeling a little type of way about reading this one, but I'm going to give it a go. For some reason, I just wasn't super interested in reading this book. But for the book club, I'm going to give it a try. I know some people really loved it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. Who knows? Okay, the Stephen King read along. I spin the wheel for us every month, and we chat about these over on Brad Proctor's Discord. I will link his channel below so you can find his Discord if you want to join us for the Stephen King read along. We just read a random Stephen King book every month. And for April, we're going to be actually diving into The Skeleton Crew. So some of his short stories. Maybe I'll get along with these short stories a little bit better than the past couple of King books that I've read as part of this read along. We will see. All right, of course, the From Hell Book Club, which is run by Kelly from Kelly Hooked on Books, of course, link below. We're going to be reading Hellhound by Ken Greenhall, and I'm so excited. I've read 2 books by Ken Greenhall now. Really liked them. And yeah, I want to read this book about a dog named Baxter, because my son's name is Baxter. Okay, now she also has her Eerie Indies book club, where she focuses on independently published, self-published horror books. And for April, she has chosen Hill Patrol by Artie Tarver. Is it Tarver? Can I read my own writing? And I forgot what this one is about already. But I just try to get to these if I can. And it's called Hill Patrol. Sounds pretty cool to me. Criminali's Patreon book club. We're going to be reading Transmuted by Eve Harms. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Been wanting to read this one. It's one of those I kept putting off. I think it's a Kindle Unlimited. I'm excited. The Dark Hearts Book Club, hosted by Amy from Amy Noel Reads. Of course, link below. Head Like a Hole by Andrew Van Wen. Can I read my writings again? I don't know, cool ass cover. I'm down. I really want to read it. And then, of course, Kelsey over at Slime and Slashers has her Midnight Book Society. She has chosen Mall Rats by Ivy Tholen. I'm excited. This will be my 3rd book by Ivy Tholen. I really enjoy her books. So, this will be the 3rd one. Another kick-ass cover. She has the best covers. And I think that's it. I think that's all book club's stuff. A lot of these will work into my readathon plans. So there are 5 events that are happening in April that I want to try to at least dip a toe into some of them, and I'll be kind of double, triple, quadruple dipping into some of the books as well when I can, because there's no way, of course, I can read 289 books in a month. But yeah, so really quickly, there's Picture This, which is hosted by Shelley Swearingen and Spread Book Joy, linked below, of course. And this is a readathon, the 2nd year, where they focus on picture books and just sort of celebrate the joy of picture books. So I'll be taking part in that. We'll talk about it later. There's People in April, which is us over on Bookends and Books channels, where she wants us to just focus on nonfiction books about, like biographies or memoirs, something about people where you can learn about, a certain particular person or a group of people. This sounds really great. They do have a group book, and which I think is the 5. I don't know if I'll get to that, but anyway, I've got some things picked up. There is the Disability Readathon, which is happening primarily over on Instagram this year. So I'll link the Instagram below. They've got 2 group books, and it's happening all month. They've got 2 group books. They've got some prompts that are both reading prompts and sort of like non-reading prompts. One is, we'll talk about later. And then there's Trans Girl April, which of course I am over the moon excited about and cannot wait to read some trans authors. Some of books I've been wanting to read forever. And just to know that this channel is a big supporter of trans rights. And if that bothers you, then maybe this isn't the space for you. But we will always speak out here in support of trans rights. And then of course there's Old School April, which is like the big kahuna for the month. and so we'll go through those prompts later. So let's start off. I'll start off with the books I've got on top of the pile here, which are some books I have pulled for the Disability Readathon. One of the group books I actually have on my shelf because I'm still doing Read What You Own challenge, is actually Being Human by Judith Heumann. This is her memoir, and I will be reading this. And Judith Heumann actually just passed away, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago now. A big loss. But Judith is, absolutely essential, pivotal to the disability rights movement, and she was amazing. And I'm gonna cry. And I'm gonna read her book, so yeah. And like I said, that's one of the group picks as well, along with, I think, River Solomon, An Unkindness of Ghosts, which is fantastic. Which I think would also work for Trans Girl April, because River Solomon, as far as I know, is a non-binary person. So you could double dip. And Unkindness of Ghosts is fucking amazing. I pulled a couple more books if I have time. And these will also be my picks for People in April, because these are all memoirs written by people with disabilities. So it will be double dipping for Disability Readathon and the People in April, basically. Because I also have Rebecca Tossig's Sitting Pretty, The View from My Ordinary Resilient Disabled Body. It's just her life. She's a disability advocate also. And this is an intimate and eye-opening essay collection that processes a lifetime of memories to paint a beautiful, nuanced portrait of a body that looks and moves different than most. I've heard this is excellent. Just haven't gotten to it yet. And then I also have this one, which I still haven't read yet. It's called Countess in Growing Up with Down Syndrome. This is by Jason Kingsley and Mitchell Levitz. I've had this one for a while. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. But they're two friends, and they just talk about, growing up with Down syndrome, being friends, their family, their life. Yeah, sounds amazing. So yeah, really want to get into that. My son's outside the door. Let me in. So again, these 3 will count for my Disability Readathon and the People in April. And I will for sure be getting to this one. Okay, so next up we'll talk about Picture This. Now these are picture books, so I could definitely squeeze these in throughout the month. And and actually a couple of these will actually also work for People in April, which I'm kind of excited about. So let's go through Picture This. And basically they have just like single word kind of prompts to just kind of help guide you into picking something. And so let's go through those. First up is Silly. And I picked, let me find it in my stack here. And I just picked all these from my shelf. These are some books I read with my son, or some of them are mine that I keep up on the tippy top of my shelf. But this is one of his, and we actually hadn't read this in a long time. How to Catch a Monster. This is by Adam Wallace and Andy Elkerton, and it's a super cute book. And then, this little kid is trying to catch a monster. So we'll read this with my son sometime this month, and appreciate the artwork and the story. And it's a silly little book, right? Next up is funny, and I'm going to try to get to this one. How Pleasant to Know Mr. Lear. Nonsense Poems by Edward Lear, illustrated by Baden Botenko. Stunning author portrait of Edward Lear there. And just a peek inside. Really sort of simple illustrations to go with the poems. And I think they're called nonsense poems, so I think hopefully they'll be kind of funny. And yeah, I've had that book a long time actually. Okay, pink. I've got a couple that I have for pink, but I've chosen this one for that prompt. And this is a beautiful book. It's The Man Made of Stars. This is written by, small writing, by Matt Clark, illustrated by Lisa Evans. There is some pink there on the cover, but throughout, this is gorgeous illustrations. Look, it's a lot of pink in the inside, and it's a stunning, look at this, just soft, beautiful illustrations. And I love this story, and we haven't read this one in a little while. Look at this little house on the cover. It's the most adorable thing you've ever seen. So yeah, so Hope, I've actually picked a couple things for Hope. Grab this. The first is one of the Little People Big Dreams books, and this is Frida Kahlo, written by Ma Isabel Sanchez Vergara, illustrated by G. Fan Eng. And it just documents Frida Kahlo's life, and I think there's definitely hope from Frida Kahlo's life, perseverance, going after your dreams, and yeah, this is a lovely little book, and I love Frida Kahlo, so I'll get into that one. And also, and this will also of course work for People April, because we will be learning about Frida Kahlo, and this will also work for People April. It's She Made a Monster. This is How Mary Shelley Created Frankenstein. And this is by Lynn Fulton, illustrated by Felicita Sala. Oh, I love the imagery. Look at the back. Isn't that amazing? What would Mary's imagination create? Really excited to get into this one. I've never read it before, but it's been a little while. And I love even just this. You see the sort of Frankenstein monster in the back. Oh, it's going to be so good. And of course, we'll learn a little bit about Mary Shelley, right? And her writing Frankenstein. Really excited for that. Okay, so now we have yellow. And I mean, come on. This is called Dilly Duckling. And this is by Claire Friedman and Jane Chapman. It's about a little yellow duck. I mean, the little yellow duck, and there's other little critter friends throughout. This is just going to be a little fun read. I think I'm missing one. Oh, I missed one. I think I had this also for Hope. No, I had this for Pink, but it's also for Hope. And it's also for People April. This is Unbound: The Life and Art of Judith Scott. Judith Scott was at the sort of latter part of her life was an artist, and created wonderful pieces. And she's also had Down syndrome and a really kind of rough start to her life. She was one that was placed into a care facility when she was a young child, and her story's kind of sad, but her art was amazing. And so this is written by with her sister Joyce Scott, with Bree Spangler and Melissa Sweet, and the art is by Melissa Sweet. The art's beautiful. The inside is really stunning. So yeah, I forgot that one. I went out of order. All right, the last prompt is movement, and I've got a couple of things here. I've got Journey. This is by Erin Becker, and this is following this little girl as she takes a journey through this sort of fantastical world. And this story is actually only told through pictures. There are no words in this book, and it's actually been a long time since I've looked through this one. So I'm really excited. And of course, I think it fits movement because we were following her journey through there. And also, I think this would be a good. We Came to America. This is by Faith Ringgold. I love Faith Ringgold. I love her children's books. If you've not read Tar Beach, is amazing. Of course, she's a fantastic artist as well. She does sort of mixed media, kind of quilt and painting arts, painting pieces. Anyway, but this is sort of about people as that are immigrating into America. So I think that definitely kind of talks about movement of people, and yeah, it just has some of her sort of her amazing art in here as well. So yeah, this is a really good book about the sort of cultural stew that is America, right? It's really good. So yeah, that's picture this. Okay, so now let's talk about Trans Girl April. I basically have just a long list of books here that I'm going to try to get to. Most of them, I have just a few of them here, but most of them I'll probably maybe try to find the audio or something like that. But I got a list of things I want to get. So let's just talk about some of the other things. So Finna by Nina Cipri, I think it's a book about, it takes place in like an IKEA type store where there's like a multiverse or like another dimension. I know it sounds great. The Other Boy by M.G. Hennessy. I know that is on Scribd as an audiobook. Black Boy Out of Time by Hari Ziyad is also on Scribd audio. So audio I can get through. I did put a hold on this one through my library for the audiobook. Don't know if I'll get it in time, but The Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. I've been wanting to read this since it came out. So I think it came out last year. Science fiction story. So Trans Girl April, let me talk about it actually. They do have like a little board to read. I think it's nonfiction, fiction, and genre fiction. I can't remember now, but to read by, of course, a trans man, trans woman, and then there's also a slot for non-binary, and you kind of fill in that as you want. Now, I'm just kind of reading what I can, So I also have got a few here on physical. Of course, I've got Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfett. I bought this. I haven't even talked about the host. I am terrible. Because I bought this because of Willow over at Books and Bow, who is one of the hosts of Trans Girl April, along with Say Kemi, who I love Kemi's channel. And so they're the masterminds behind Trans Girl April. And I bought this book, again, because of Willow over at Books and Bow. And I still haven't read it yet, because that is how I am. So I'm going to definitely try to get to it in April. It's kind of like a haunted house type of story. Sounds great. And then Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. I definitely want to. I think this is one of my four definite for Trans Girl April. I have girded myself for it because I heard it's kind of brutal. But I want to read it, so I'm gonna make it happen finally in April. And yeah, and also some Eric LaRocca. This is only a short one, so I'm gonna try to get to this until we can never leave this place. Eric LaRocca, I know, is non-binary. He talks about being non-binary over on Twitter. I did start this for something a while back, but I only made it a few chapters in, so we're just gonna start over. And get to this one. So that's my plans for Trans Girl April. Okay, now let's talk about Old School April. This video is going to be really long. I do apologize. I've got a lot of things picked out for Old School April, and I'm going to try to do my best for my team. Silver Snakes. Go Snakes. And so Old School April, if you don't know yet, of course, is a whole nostalgia-themed readathon and watchathon, and it's created by Kelsey over at Slam and Slashers, who has put in a lot of work for this, and I think it's just going to be so fun. Also hosted by Andrew from It Came From The Page, Kelly Hooked on Books, Katrina Brown, Cat's Novel Adventures, Thrills and Kills booktube channel, Pretty in Paper Cuts, The Bookubus, Elizabeth Sagewood, Amy Noel Reads, and then over on Instagram, Apple and Alchemy. Of course, I will link everyone below. and you can go check them out, check out their announcements or whatnot if you haven't yet. For some reason, you've been living under a rock and don't know about Old Square April. All right, so Silver Snakes. So I've got my reading prompts kind of basically picked out. Watching, I'm just gonna kind of go where the month takes me. I've got I made a little list, over on my Letterboxd of movies I'd like to, or possibilities, I've got nothing really planned necessarily. I'm letting the month take me where I want to go for that one. But anyway, let's get through the reading prompts really quickly. So read a Goosebumps book. I picked out How I Got My Shrunken Head, but actually, criminally, for his birth year book club, I've also chosen a Goosebumps book. I think Welcome to Dead House, which is the very first Goosebumps book in the series, which I've never read. I don't have that one, but if I can find it, maybe I'll read that one too. I'm definitely going to get to How I Got My Shrunken Head. I did start this one too. I never I just didn't get finished with it because I got distracted. So again, I'm just going to start over and get into How I Got My Shrunken Head. That one looks really fun. Okay, second is a book set, a horror book set or published in the 1980s. And I'm going to pick a book that Kelsey actually sent to me, and sort of in honor of Kelsey. Allison's Baby by Mike Stone. Look at this cover. It's so great. So it was published in 1988. Good old 1988. Sweet dreams or darkest oblivion, what awaits? Years ago, innocent little Allison had walked the woods of Mountain Oaks. Something savage, brutal had happened there. She knew it. It haunted her. Why couldn't she remember? Now married and pregnant, she was mysteriously called back by the dark legacy to the old house in the Catskills, with its sagging porch and peeling paint, back to the sinister Dr. Fielding. Who knows the terrifying truth? Back to the edge of memory where violent shadows and murderous secrets reach out. Darling Allison to remember, threatening to claim Allison's baby. Sounds amazing. Sounds great. And it's just under 300 pages, so it's not crazy long. And man, it looks great. Looks great. I'm excited. I've got my pile situated over here. Number 3 is to read an animal attack book. I already got Hellhound on my list from Hell Book Club by Ken Greenhall. I'm going to be plugging that in right here to read about this demonic dog. I'm excited. Okay, next up, a book that has nostalgic technology on the cover. Let me find it. Oh, I picked up this one, a John Ferris book, When Michael Calls. Look at that old slimline telephone on there. You remember telephones? Yeah, remember that? And this is actually from, I looked at the year, let me look it up again, 1967, so it goes way back. But it sounds pretty great, and again, it's not crazy long. So Auntie Helen, the little boy, sobbed, "I'm home and nobody's here." The phone trembled in Helen Connolly's hand. She could not believe her ears. This was her nephew, Michael Young, on the phone. Michael, who had been dead for 16 years. Who was this mysterious caller? Could it really be Michael? And if so, what did he want? Sounds great, yeah. So yeah, it sounds like maybe a good kind of thrillery type book. And I've got so many John Ferris books that I've not read yet. So I'm going to finally give one a go. And that sounds like a fun one. Alrighty, next up is a mood read, any kind of nostalgic type book that you want. And I've picked a couple things. I'm just, in the mood read. Maybe I shouldn't pick something yet, but because I really want to read these, I'm in the mood for maybe one or both of these. First up, The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, of course. The character from Twin Peaks. And I was recently gifted this by MJ over at Reading This Life. Thank you, MJ. And it just sounds great to read the diary of Laura Palmer. Doesn't it sound great? Dear diary, you will never believe what happened. So there's that. That could be a lot of fun. And then also this is My So-Called Life book. This is a novelization of the series. I loved My So-Called Life. Like Claire Danes' Angela Chase spoke to me. Yes. And I recently bought this. I bought this last year. And I really want to read this too. So I really might try to get to both of these. But if I get to only one, we'll see where the mood takes me, of course. But okay, next up, read a Fear Street, Point Horror, or Christopher Pike book. I'm going with a Christopher Pike book. And this one, Master of Murder. Dun, dun, dun. Look at this. Also has some old technology on the front, this old computer. Master of Murder. And this sounds really fun. So it's got this guy who's in high school. He's also like a best-selling author, but nobody knows it's him because he writes under a different name. Let's see. He wrote under a pen name. He was rich and famous, but he couldn't even get a date for Friday night. Bless his heart. He wanted to remain unknown, though. He was worried about his career hit a brick wall. The final installment of the famous series was overdue. Fans are waiting. One idea opens a fan letter, and it comes from his publisher in the usual way. But the letter says, "I know who you are," and the postmark is from his local town. So at first he's unconcerned about the letter, but then another arrives saying more. So I think it just kind of goes from there. Sounds like a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be fun. And yeah. And a crazy cool cover. So yeah. All right, what is next? The Teen Witch prompt to read a book with, magic or witchy vibes, haunted objects, the occult, and the supernatural, all kinds of long list of things. And I'm going to pick Code Red by Regina Sinclair. Her own haunted library here on YouTube. I wanted to read this last year, never got to it. It's her vampire story, and I think it's kind of like Hillbilly Vampires or something like that. I don't know. It sounds like a really freaking good time, and I want to read it. So that's going to be my pick. All right, read a horror book or any kind of YA middle grade book published in the 90s. I'm going to go for Puppy Z Bright's Drawing Blood, which is also the sort of recommendation host pick from Amy Noel Reads. Will also work for Trans Girl April. As we know, Puppy Z Bright is a trans man, and I'm dying to read more Puppy Z Bright, basically. So this is probably the longest book on my list for the month. It's just a bit over 400 pages, but I don't even know what this one's about. I just know I'm going to read it. Yeah. Can't wait. It's going to be great. Next up is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer prompt. Book with a female protagonist or written by a female author. And I'm going with the book I've got on my Kindle, which is Black Ambrosia by Elizabeth Engstrom. And yeah, I'm going to read that book. It's going to be great. Now there's a bonus prompt to read a book with neon on the cover. I'm going to slot in Transmuted here by Eve Harms. This, of course, I'm already reading it for Trans Girl April, but this has this awesomely neon pink cover. And so I'm going to kind of plug that in for there. Yeah, probably a lot of these other books could work, especially this Christopher Pike book. That's a lot of neon on that too. Look at the back. Dayglow green. But anyway. Now, just as a bonus, if I have time, I really might like to try to find some time to read this Chuck Klosterman's The 90s. If I can maybe pick it up on audio, probably would be the best way to go. I think this is sort of a series of essays by Chuck Klosterman, just, about the 90s. So, I've been feeling pretty nostalgic about the 90s lately. So this will be fun. But yeah, that's just a throw bonus prompt for myself for April. I'm going to try to read as many of the host recs as I can, too. I don't know how I'm going to get to all of it. Because there's Rosemary's Baby, Nelfs, which I have on my Kindle. I've read Rosemary's Baby before. Ready Player One I've read already. I don't know that I'll read that one again. There's the Planet X book. Can you even find that book? I don't know. The Worm and His Kings. I could reread that. I liked that. There's Witch. April Fools I really wanted to read. I think I found that maybe on Scribd. There's the Elementals, which I wouldn't mind reading. Oh, and It Came from the Multiplex. Actually, is one I do want to read because I think that's a short story collection, and I'll make that one of my short story reads for the month. I also have Skeleton Crew, but whatever. I have that on my Kindle already. I own that book, so maybe I'll try to get that too. And again, for the watch prompts, I'm just gonna kind of go where the wind takes me and watch what I feel like. Yeah. Phew, I think that's it. I hope that's it. I don't know how I'm going to get through all this stuff, but it's a lot. But I think I'm just looking forward to everything. I think April is just going to be a lot of fun. Spring is finally here. And, yeah, this time to have some fun and learn some things through People April and even Trans Girl April. And just have some fun getting nostalgia as well. So let me know what kind of events you're taking part in April. Are you doing any of these that I'm going to be hopping into? Let me know what you're reading or all that good stuff. What team are you on in No Square April? Silver Snakes. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate your time as always. Bye.